Good afternoon and happy holidays, everyone. It is now 5:03. I would like to call our special board meeting to order. We are located in the Village of Broadview Municipal Chambers, 2350 South 25th Avenue. Celeste, can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Thompson.
Here.
Mayor Riegel.
Here.
Ms. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Marzano.
Here.
Mr. Scalise.
Here.
Mr. Comstock.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Any public comments? None. Moving right along. Presentation of the minutes from October 30th, 2023 special board meeting. I need a motion and a second.
Motion for approval?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Monthly financial report for November 2023.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks again
Good
for
evening.
moving the meeting for tonight. For the month end, October 31st, the agency has $7.5 million in cash and investments. And operationally wise, for the current year, we are operating at a surplus. Let me find that number for you. Through October of just over $1 million. Again, we have debt service payments that have not been made in full yet, so that's the biggest chunk that hasn't been paid. So the fact that we're $1 million over, we're right in line with where we would expect to be. We are running a bit behind in revenues compared to budget. However, the reason why we're running behind is because of the fact that we haven't taken the bonds out, and that's part of our budget. We are, though, already over budget in interest income. So I want to point out that we budgeted $100,000 in interest income, and for 6 months ended, we're already at $145,000. And I see that going nowhere but up. So I just wanted to point that out to you, that our money is making money for us. Other than that, I have nothing else to say.
Any questions for the finance report for November?
None here.
Thank you, Kelly. Next on the agenda is new business, consideration and approval of the updated engagement letter with Kleinthorpe and Jenkins for calendar years 2024 and 2025.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? So, Attorney I'm sorry. Mike, you want to tell us about your letter?
Yeah, it's typical engagement letter. This year we are increasing our rates across the board for all of our clients. With you, it's a $5 increase to the general rates, so just a very nominal increase, and it's in line with rates that I charge other clients in this area. And we're going to hold it for 2 years. And we haven't increased our rates very much, very often in the market. It's been about 10 plus years that I've been working for you. So this is just one of these periodic increases. We're trying to, keep up with inflation.
Well, good luck.
And I appreciate, as the letter says, the opportunity to continue to serve you.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, we would like to compensate those that do the work for us, and if it validates an increase in because of rising costs, that's typical. I would say when we look at our CPI and those types of things, it's an impact to municipalities because we can only, budget for a threshold of not more than 5% when we're doing levies and those types of things. And this agency is not in a revenue generating business, so it's not that we don't honor the work that legal counsel provide to us, but at the same time, we have to be conscious and, fiscal responsible when we're looking at increases, whether it's $5 or $200. Yours haven't went up significantly, only $5. So this is an increase for 24, and then 2025, and on the engagement letter, it doesn't say 2025, it's just got January 2024 to go into effect.
It says it on page, at page 2, I highlight that these billing rates and charges shall remain in effect for calendar years 2024 and 2025. The first paragraph just says, effect, this is when the effective date's
Effective
going to go in. Yeah. And the $5 increase is, is significantly
But I
less
don't
than-
see it on the, okay, I see it now. Okay.
Page 2,
Yep, and so just for the matter of record, I just wanted to be, transparent for legal counsel for general legal services. It's $240 per hour for partners' time, $225 per hour for senior counsel time, $215 per hour for associates' time, $175 per hour for senior paralegals' time, $165 per hour for paralegals' time, and $135 per hour for law clerks' time. Litigation and appeals, it's $255 per hour for partners' time, $230 per hour for senior counsel time, $205 per hour for associates' time, $175 per hour for senior paralegal time, $165 per hour for paralegal time, and $135 per hour for law clerks' time. Employment and collective bargaining services, it's $285 per hour for partners' time, $260 per hour for senior counsel time, $225 per hour for associates' time, $175 per hour for senior paralegals' time, and $165 per hour for paralegals' time, $135 for law clerks' time. And then special project work, which is $285. It's the same amount as it is for employment and collective bargaining service, it looks like.
correct.
Yep. So I don't have, I'm okay with it. Mayor Rebo?
In no case does it increase it by over 5%, so just to be
Yep.
open.
Trustee?
Yes, totally okay.
Mr. Mayor? Manager? I don't know why I want you to be the mayor, Barry. Administrator Jones? You good? Okay.
good.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor Rebo?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Marzano?
Yes.
Mr. Scalise?
Yes.
Mr. Comstock?
Yes.
Thank you, Attorney Jerusik, for the work that you do for the agency. We appreciate it. Consideration and approval of the annual insurance premium quote for cybersecurity insurance covered issued by Illinois County's Risk Management in the amount of $6,420. Coverage dates would be from December 1, 2023 to November 30th, 2024. I need a motion and a second.
Motion for approval. Second.
Any discussion?
I would like to say that this does fall in line with the averages as cybersecurity has increased in price substantially over the last several years. Village of Westchester dealt with the same thing over the last two budget cycles, 75 or 80% increases over the past 2 years each year. So I believe this falls in line with that, just to make that statement.
Okay, Mr. Manager, you have any questions or comments?
Not today, but thank you.
Trustee?
No, thank you.
Administrator Jones?
No, ma'am.
Okay, can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor Rebo?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Marzano?
Yes.
Mr. Scalise?
Yes.
Mr. Comstock?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is the status report of the expansion of the agency water reservoir capacity at 10th Avenue Pump Station site. Nothing to report? I got one question. It may be not anything to report, but have you spoke with Director Ames and on the Broadview side as it relates to the reservoir?
Not in the last few months.
Okay, so we probably need to have a conversation because we got a lot of large water users that it's going to impact.
Okay.
And so the capacity may need to be more than 1 million.
Okay.
But I don't know what that look like, so we can have that conversation so that when the ball get ready to go, we exactly know what we asking for. Okay.
I'll work with Superintendent Millsap.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is consideration and approval of the finance report of November 30th, 2023, and the check detail report period October 30th, 2023 to November 20th, 23, in the amount of $563,350.60. The check numbers are 17202 through 17232. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments as it relates to the finance report?
No, not here.
No. No, thank you.
Okay, so can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Marzano?
Yes.
Mr. Scalise?
Yes.
Mr. Crumpler?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, consideration and approval of the IMRF Employer Compliance Report for Broadview Westchester Water Agency.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or concerns?
Not a concern, but I just want to make notice that I did ask the question just prior to your entrance into the room.
Okay.
Two questions that I had was there any fiscal impact, which was answered by Kelly, stating no, there's no fiscal impact, even though it is a retroactive, or I should say, post-dated. The other question I had is who is the individual responsible for IMRF? And it is Kelly. I just wanted to make.
Chris just logged in
Okay.
for me.
Then we wanted to make sure that the person who's responsible for it is going to maintain responsibility. That was my questions prior to your entrance to the room.
So then, so I was following up with Administrator Jones prior to the meeting as it relates to IMRF, and the question that I had was the financial impact, so we didn't know what that was. And even though it's not a financial impact, did we get penalized?
Yes.
Okay. And then how did that happen where we didn't file the compliance report?
So basically, when we took over, we just carried over the accounting and the way the taxes were taken out for IMRF. The auditor who audited us basically said this is probably the most common mistake that's out there, that they don't realize when they signed up for IMRF that they also needed to pass this resolution.
Okay.
It's just a simple resolution that needed to be passed in order so that IMRF was subject to Social Security.
And who's the registered agent for IMRF?
That was the question I'd asked.
Okay, so I would make a recommendation that change, because the registered agent should be the superintendent or staff, because that's a contracted employee, or the superintendent need to have access to the portal. So then, just in case something happened, what if the contractor decide to leave, then we can't get access. So
Understood.
it should be an employee staff to have access to IMRF. So we need
I believe
to,
that would have to be done by resolution, so I can,
It's our understanding that IMRF has lots of forms, and so we're gonna have to get the right
resolution.
form.
so Ms. Jones can explain, because she's the agent for it, or the manager might be able to explain what the process, but whatever the process is, it should be a paid staff of the agency that's the registered agent, not a contractor employee.
We'll bring that back at the next meeting and tee it up for approval.
Yeah.
Whatever the form is, this is a resolution,
Yep.
whatever IMRF requires for the changeover, we'll get the right paperwork put together and have that for you next week.
and
Okay.
she, sorry to cut you off. She can also still have access, just, I should say.
Oh,
There
yeah,
are
that-
ways to have multiples, but yes, in my position as manager previously, it required a board authorized resolution, along with paperwork, of course.
Yep, that's fair. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay. Celeste, can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Marzano?
Yes.
Mr. Scalise?
Yes.
Mr. Crumpler?
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is resolution number 2023-02, resolution to include compensation paid under the Internal Revenue Code Section 125 as IMRF earnings.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion?
Not here, no.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next is the status report for request for proposals for the updated contractor list on-call routine and emergency water system repair services, and agency engineers report and recommendation regarding RFP submittals and updated contractor list for all on-call routine and emergency water repair services.
So this is just a follow-up from the last meeting that you approved the list and how the attorneys prepared the agreements for that and just for approval.
Okay, so are we approving all three agreements under one vote, or
I added one resolution to take care of approving all three contractors who submitted proposals back to us. It's my understanding Unique and Morrow
Correct.
did not, and Jim, you just want to talk about that, Jim?
Morrow just wasn't interested in doing the work anymore. Unique didn't get a proposal in at the time and the format, and they said they're still interested. I said, well, if you're interested, you need to submit a proposal, what your rates will be, and we can take, the A board can take them under advisement to see if they want to, if they're reasonable and if they want to add that to the list.
And if Unique does come back with a proposal that you want to add, the same resolution I have here, the same independent contractor agreement that we're doing with the other three contractors tonight, we'll just use that to bring, to approve Unique's contract.
So if they couldn't fall in compliance like the other contractors did, why would we give them consideration?
So the format that we.
Jim, can you go to the mic? Thank you.
So the format that we had done on the proposal and changed based on discussions with John Neary and them getting them involved was we went to a hourly rate plus a multiplier for overhead and profit and for equipment. Unique Plumbing didn't have the software and everything available to do that type of, you have to have access to some software for the equipment rates and all that other stuff, and it's tedious, so were not interested in that format, but they would be at an hour with hourly rates similar to what Cerniga included in their proposal. So if you're okay with entertaining them, if not, we can. I
Okay.
would just get another contractor on the list. I mean, seeing what their rates are.
Well, they not before us to approve tonight, so
No.
I can't make that decision
No, no.
because they're
So-
not before. But the other thing is, looking at the three agreements, is the Niglia, Geno's Heating and Plumbing, and John Neary Construction are the three that's before us.
Yes.
I'm looking at the agreement, but I don't see the pricing for the charges. So do we know what the hourly rates are? Because I don't see it in the documents that were shared with the board. I don't feel comfortable approving an agreement and we don't know what the pricing is. So do we have that information?
That was attached to the memo from last meeting, what that, I had
But
the
it's not
rates,
in
but
this
are they
packet.
an attachment that I agree with?
They should have been.
They were not in the, for this time. Last time they were.
Remember they were on the last one.
Yeah, I thought.
Do we know what so for the last one, do we know what the pricing is? If we can get that, I'm okay with moving forward, but I just need to know what the pricing is for transparency and for us to be accountable.
Do you want to just, I've got the three as attachments there, you want to just open them up? I can email these out to the board before this email.
So the way it was set up, John Neary has proposed for labor, it's the prevailing wage rates as applied to all of them, plus 60%. For materials, it's cost plus 40%, and equipment is cost plus 40%.
So labor, okay, prevailing rates and materials, and what was the third one?
For equipment,
Equipment. And what was the markup?
so the first one was, for labor was 60%, for materials 40%, and for equipment was 40%.
And then my next question is, what is the service, what's the billable hours for emergency repair work?
It's whatever the prevailing wages for their laborers and
So
for their
so for labor, if it's an emergency, it's prevailing wage plus the 60%?
Correct.
Okay, I got it. And so what is it for Geno Heating and Plumbing?
Okay. So it's the same three categories on Geno's. So Geno's for labor is 20%. For material is 15%. And for equipment, 18%.
And then for Sinigli?
So Niglia proposed some hourly rates, and they did a different format because they did not want that, and they proposed this. It's varying rates for the equipment and the labor. There's a whole list of different, but
So basically, Siniglia can charge us whatever we want because we don't
they have
have,
their rates in here, their hourly rates. It just includes everything.
it's in the agreement?
No, it's
It's an attachment that Jim's looking at. It's a spreadsheet,
table basically,
it's a table out.
where they have straight
It
time,
wasn't
overtime,
attached.
double time rates for equipment and for personnel.
Okay, I don't see they table on the attachments. Do you all have the attachments
This was
for the pricing?
This was from the previous meeting.
Oh, it wasn't in this one, so we don't have it in front of us. Okay.
I will take,
Okay, so what is Sinigli labor cost again, Jim?
So their personnel is straight time, I mean, it's a range based on,
let me just read it out.
okay, I can do that. So for equipment, so an excavator with operators, based on the material, the size of the equipment. They have like a hydraulic backhoe, with excavator with operator is $245 per hour for straight time.
That's labor or equipment?
That's the labor.
I'm confused because the other two break it down by labor,
Correct.
material, and equipment, and then they all over the place sound like it.
Is there the ability to print these three, email this to Ms. Jones, and then have her just?
Yeah, I think I need to see it, I don't know about,
That,
You wanna do that?
I'm trying to pull it up myself from.
yeah, if we
previous
could do
meetings. I
that
don't
and
have
take
names.
a,
Take 2 seconds
yeah.
to, let me just forward this.
can you print it out for us? Print out 6, one for Celeste too, so she
What's that?
the printout,
The mayor was saying, I'll get copies for everybody.
because everything else is pretty straightforward except this, we need that document.
Yeah, obviously we'll be calling it.
Okay.
general
So
meeting.
can I get a motion to suspend our regular board meeting until we can get the documents printed?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Make a motion to reconvene our regular board meeting at 5:35.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So the last discussion, we was talking about the rates for Siniglia, and I have them. So they have straight time for personnel, which range from $180 or $160 to $180. And then for overtime, it ranges from $170 to $205. And for double time, the range is $195 to $230. And so that's just for personnel. They do have some miscellaneous things, and that look like more of material and that types of stuff. For excavators with operators, so the excavator with an operator, that means personnel, right?
Personnel and equipment.
So are they billing us for personnel plus the equipment?
That rate includes the equipment, the personnel and equipment. So for the operator of the machine and the machine.
Okay, so for excavators with operator, and in the exhibit, in the agreement, this rate sheet will be attached to that, where you can see the personnel is supervisor, foreman, operator, plumber, laborer, driver, and flagger, and concrete finisher. And so with the excavators with operators, the range from $205 to $295. Low, and that's for straight time. Overtime is $230 to $270, and for double, for 320, thank you, Celeste, 320. And then for double time, the cost is $255 to $345. That's with excavators with operators. For loaders, roller with operator, the range from $205 to $245 for straight time. For overtime is $230 to $270. Double time is $255 to $295. And then trucks with personnel, and that includes everything that's described that I spoke of earlier, that's in the attachment. So that would range from $165 to $235 for straight time. For overtime, it ranges from $185 to $255. And for double time, the cost is $205 to $255. And then they have some miscellaneous equipments that they charge per hour. So just for clarity, I just wanted to make sure that we have it documented for the record, and the agreements that's going to be signed, just make sure that the rate sheets for each vendor that's being approved for tonight, the attachment is with the agreement for rates.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or comments?
If I may, just one point, Siniglia is a phenomenal company, and I know that Wesley's going to provide us with some information on our 3 in the morning wake-up call we had last Wednesday. However, just one thing that is mentioned in theirs is that their rates are subject to change without notice. However, we're trying to do this as a contractual agreement. Is there any way that we could request that they place in notice upon a rate change of any sort?
Or you approve it with no rate changes for a particular year. It's a take it or leave it, to me, either way. But, you know, you don't want to get notice 6 months from now and then be over a barrel. I would say, we're agreeing, you know, the independent contractor agreement is supposed to have it approved for a term, for a period.
Correct.
And it should stay fixed for that time period.
And I would hope that it would. And again, I do trust their work. I've seen what they've been able to do, and I've also heard what they were able to do. But of course, having a statement like that could leave somebody in a lurch after the bill comes in, so,
And just.
or question it, so.
The contract, the independent contractor agreements that I prepared, just like our original ones, were to hold these prices fixed for 2024, 2025, 2026. That's what we did the first time we did these RFPs. And so, you know, we may want to clarify that. If that's what we're approving, when we send it back, we say, this is the agreement, your pricing is in there, the agreement trumps any conditions.
statement? Okay.
Other than your pricing in your proposal.
So, for a point of clarity for me, in the first paragraph of this agreement, it clearly says that including attached to 2024 pricing sheet for services. And on his pricing sheet, it says June 1st, 2023 through May 31st, 2024. So that could, this would be, my understanding that this is only valid to the end of May 2024. And that, and so that don't make me feel comfortable with that timeline because it's a short period. So what I would recommend the table is I would like someone to do a superseding motion to table Soniglia until we can get clarity on that and approve the other two agreements that's for us tonight.
So moved.
Second?
Celeste, can we get a roll call, please?
Sure. Mayor Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Marzano?
Yes.
Mr. Scalise?
Yes.
Mr. Punchback?
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank
Mayor,
you.
for doing that.
Thank you. Superintendent report.
No report, right?
Good evening. I submitted my superintendent report via electronically. If you have any questions.
Can you repeat what you said?
I submitted my superintendent's report electronically.
Yes, so I have some questions. So with the tuck pointing, what do the temperature need to be to do the tuck pointing? I know it's getting cold and I understand, but what's the typical temperature for tuck pointing?
Mr. Gomez?
April through October.
Okay. Okay, and then I know that we had a major water main break that was on the 290. Can you kind of give us some details and where we are today with that?
It was a contractor that was contracted through IDOT to do soil borings, and they actually bored through the 24-inch concrete main. Got the phone call 2 o'clock in the morning. Got out there, and no, I didn't panic right away. I got the agency's customers filled up with water before we actually isolated that main. I notified the directors after that. I contacted Soniglia, then I contacted Mr. Gumas, and he came out. They did a temporary fix. We're gonna have to do a permanent fix to get it back right, but right now it's a temporary fix.
And so my question would be, because it was a third-party contractor that was not hired by the agency, who's responsible for the repairs and the costs?
We're going to be doing, we're supposed to be filing a claim through the insurance, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Gumas, just,
Through the boring company?
yeah, that's the one that I'm talking about.
So I did reach out to the boring contractor who was out there, got their contact information from IDOT. Did talk with them and emailed them today, asking them for a copy of their certificate of insurance and copies of any Julie locates that they did in advance of this. So just before I came here, they sent a copy of their certificate of insurance and a copy that I haven't had a chance to really look at them yet and go over them with the superintendent. But we've gathered that information, and talking to the attorney, then we can evaluate that information, and then if feel it's warranted, to file a claim against their insurance.
Okay.
Were the Julie locates expired?
That's what we need to check, because I just got the copies of the Julies, so I haven't had a chance to look through them.
Okay.
We've talked as a group on this, and once Jen and Wes get their information together, then I'll meet with them and we'll figure a strategy out, and we'll present that strategy to you, or the options to you.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. Any other questions?
Can I just
Yeah,
talk a
Mr. Manning?
little bit about the repair? a little
Yeah,
bit?
go ahead.
So what we did was a temporary repair, because this is a special type of pipe, so you can't just normally put a sleeve on it and be done. It's a pre-stressed concrete pipe, so you have to replace basically from joint to joint, which is about 18 feet. So we were able to get a temporary sleeves on there to get us through, and the winter time is not a great time to be able to do anything on I-290 and get restoration and stuff like that. Plus, the material is special order. So we've got some feelers out to try to get ordered the closing pieces and the gaskets that we need to be able to do that permanent repair. The other thing that I'm going to suggest, once we have the pricing for those fittings, is to get a spare set for the agency to have on hand. We have some those fittings there, but the gaskets are no good. So I'm not sure if we can just order a new set of gaskets to utilize those. We'll be working through that as well. And then the Westchester, with their had a 20-inch water main break that had the same situation happen a few years ago, and they actually had a special saddle sleeve made that fits on the concrete pipe better than trying to take a 16, a 14, and an 8 and piece them together. So I've got the contact information for him. We will get some pricing to get one of those ordered for the agency to have, so that if there's another breach in the main, you can more easily do the temporary repair.
Okay. Mr. Manager?
Can I ask, has the materials been restored to Westchester yet? That were,
We did not, we netted up.
you did not need it?
No, we did not.
Okay.
It would not fit. It's a different size main.
Thank you.
So really quickly, even as we gather the information for the insurance claim, they're going to also pay for the water that was spilled because that's still our water overall. So
We can make an estimate of that water based on, if you could take some readings from those days. and try to make
because
an
again,
estimate of
that is a concern.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's also, I guess, in the back of our minds too. We know that there are 2 feeds that come into our main area, but this was the one pipe that they sort of hit. So
Yes,
just
it's a one pipe,
thoughts
yes.
in there, but
And-
we did lose some money on the water. So
Yes, we did.
it's a much cleaner road, but we didn't want to do that.
In the cemetery, got some water on their side and stuff like that.
Yeah, just keep that in mind because that is money that we owe now City of Chicago. It's too
Okay.
bad it wasn't on their side.
Okay.
How many feet of main do we have on 290?
On 290, it's from First Avenue to Des Plaines Avenue.
Okay.
Then it goes into the frontage road along Harrison and Garfield along the south side.
Right,
Once you get up to Des Plaines, and then when you're at First Avenue, it goes south down First Avenue.
And does Wesley locate that? Concrete?
Let me tell you that the concrete main is difficult. There's not a simple way to locate a concrete main. Typical ductile iron, cast iron mains, you hook a current up to them, you can trace the current, locate. The concrete main, you cannot do that to. Where this breach was, there is a valve about 200 to 300 feet west. It's in the shoulder of I-290. Okay, which we know about that. But where they breached the main at that point, the main somehow drifted out into the through lane. I mean, all the plans.
Pressure.
The old plan showed, it's supposed to go along the right of way, stay in that shoulder. For whatever reason why it did that, and that's why it's difficult we can't really mark it because of the best, and so that leaves us. Several years ago, the agency had a company put a device in the water main and kind of ball and floated it down. The information they provided at that time only gave us valves, bends, and some other, and just other features, not a continuous locate of it. I have a call or email out into them to see if they have other information, that they have a file that maybe had some GPS positioning of it. If they do, that would be excellent. If not, I want to talk to them about their technology, if they can do that, so that maybe we can do another insert into the main and follow it.
Do they use GPR to locate?
You can do that. That's another option, is to do GPR out on the 290 there. It's ground penetrating radar, just so you guys can understand it.
So Westchester did do that recently.
The
if
smart
you
ball
recall.
thing,
We went
yeah.
with the smart ball from the agency to our Crestwood pumping station. Don't know if it's based on mileage or how that works, but the cost was pretty insignificant for us to make sure we know where that line is.
Yes, and I don't know if they did a location or it was.
Understood.
Yeah, I have to see that report to see if it did provide the GPS, if they've, improved, or if it, because part of what they were doing is trying to see if there's any leaks or, you know, structural issues with the pipe, which there weren't when we did the investigation back then.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any other questions or concerns? Thank you. Any questions for the superintendent?
No.
All right, thank you, Mr. Superintendent.
You're welcome.
Next is closed meeting. I don't think we have any closed meetings, so I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. When is the next meeting? Just a couple weeks, isn't it?